Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cyber Gurukul. In today's episode, we will be discussing Kafka and what's the best way to get started with Kafka. Okay, so there are different ways of launching Kafka, there are different ways of getting it installed. You can work on the cloud, you can install the binaries on your machine. Um, So before we get into details of how to install Kafka and everything, I would like to give you guys a sneak peek into how easy it is to start using Kafka. Okay, we will we will have a series of Kafka with Spring Boot, maybe with also with Python, and maybe with some other technologies, and try to understand the pros and cons and different ways in which we can use Kafka. We'll try to plan something like that, but for today let's just get started. Okay, so a few words about Kafka, as we know, is a distributed messaging platform, and it has lots of different use cases including decoupling systems and stream processing, and it is highly scalable, highly fault tolerant, and has a lot of different benefits. Okay, so it helps in keeping applications separate from each other and makes it much easier for extending the functionality by making sure that the number of applications that we have to integrate with in order to extend the functionality is limited. Anyway, lots of these words would probably not make much sense unless we really go about implementing them. So we'll come back to this. We'll come back to these terms, and we'll come back to what Kafka is all about, what Zookeeper is, and different kinds of applications. Anyway, for now, just remember that Kafka is something that helps us to decouple applications, and Zookeeper is somebody who helps Kafka run. Okay, so well, there are a bunch of terms here. The most important terms that we need to understand today are these: producer. Producer is anybody who produces messages to Kafka, that is, he sends some kind of a request to Kafka. Okay, and consumer is somebody who reads messages from Kafka. Consumers can be put together in a consumer group so that multiple consumers can consume the messages. Maybe a producer is producing messages really fast, and there are multiple consumers who need to work together to be able to process those messages, right? I mean, placing an order is pretty quick, but actually doing everything that needs to be done in order to fulfill that order takes time, right? So you need multiple people serving that um, or maybe performing that functionality that is needed in order to fulfill that order. Okay, so that's where consumers and consumer groups are. So okay, and now topics. A topic is what a producer will write it against. Now think of a database, for instance. If you're writing data to a database, you would write it to a table, right? You cannot just read data from a database, right? It has to exist in a table, and in a table there are rows. Similarly, in Kafka there are topics and there are messages which are returned to topics, which are published to topics rather. Okay, there are a few more terms here: partition, replication factor, and the like. Let's not dive into that right now. We will probably discuss them today. Okay, so okay, before going to Spring Kafka and implementing this in STS, let's quickly create our topic. Okay, so let's shift to our PowerShell here. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we have to bring up our Zookeeper. Okay, so Zookeeper, and we need to provide the properties, and we wait for Mr. Zookeeper to come up. And it's up. Let's go for Kafka. Excellent. So Zookeeper is up on port 2181, as we can see here, and there are some topics that I had created here initially. So we'll create a new topic of our own so that we can publish messages to it and read messages from the topic, right? So there are a few parameters that we will need to specify. Let's say food. Okay. So we are having a topic of food, or maybe I don't know, pizza orders, different kinds of pizza. So we are going to create this topic of pizza orders. This is the Zookeeper. Then we'll have to specify the number of partitions. Okay, we will go into some depth about what partitions are all about, but for now, let's just leave it at 1. Let us just leave it at 3, and we will have the replication factor as 1. Replication factor essentially means how many copies of some topic will exist within a cluster, and partitions means how many different shards would hold that topic. Okay, just give me a second, let me connect my laptop to some power. Okay, so that's our topic. Fine. So now we have our topic, and we should be able to produce messages to this topic using the console producer and consume messages using the console consumer. um, let's just go ahead and create our own producer using Spring Boot. Okay, so I have created a basic Spring Boot project here, nothing fancy about it right now. So we are just having a nothing here, nothing special over here. And I'm going to write a new class here. There's nothing written within this yet. And let us look at the dependencies first. So if you're starting a new project, then you need to add the web starter and you need to add Spring Kafka as a dependency. All right, Spring Kafka and Spring Web. Okay, so creating a producer using Spring Kafka is pretty straightforward. First of all, we will need to make sure that this is exposed as a service. Okay, um, and we will need to use something called as a Kafka template. So you can see that it's generified. um, there's a key and a value that you need to specify here. So the keys help us identify which partition this particular data should go to. Its keys are optional. If we don't specify the keys, then the data would be round robin into one of the different partitions. Don't worry guys if we are not able to follow all these terms right away. So let's get this working, and we will have some deep dive sessions into different aspects of Kafka later, where all of this will start making more sense. Okay, now we will also need, of course we will need to auto wire this first. Let me auto wire it. Okay, so we will have the Kafka template. We'll also need the topic that we are going to produce to, right? So that topic would be what we have just created here. This is our topic name, pizza orders. Okay. Okay. Now let us create a method which will allow us to publish. Mm, yeah, that seems right. So let's use this, or maybe let's just go for the simpler one without the key, just the data. And believe it or not, guys, this is all that it takes to publish something to Kafka. Okay, of course we'll have to try, we'll want to try it out. So in order to try it out, let's turn this into a REST controller and expose a method which we can access from the browser, right? And of course we will need the Kafka producer here. So Kafka producer, this should be private. Okay, so far so good. All right, and we need to return a string here, right? So okay, let's just make this simple. Return published. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And of course we would need a, let's make it a get mapping. Okay, so that should do it. Let's try it out. Hmm, are we missing something, guys? Of course we are missing something. We haven't told our Spring Boot project where exactly to connect. What are the properties that we need to specify, right? So let's do that. Let's do that. So in order to connect to Kafka, we would need okay, first of all let's have server port. We could have had it running on 8080 as well. That is the default that we have. This is not absolutely necessary, but anyway I'm going to do that anyway. So I mentioned here what are the properties that we need to specify in our application properties or application YAML, right? So we need to specify the bootstrap servers. So what a bootstrap server is, Bootstrap server is the server that you first connect to, and that particular server will help you connect to the whole cluster. So what do I mean by that? So in Kafka, if you connect to one of the brokers, that particular broker is in turn connected to the other brokers. It's part of the whole cluster, right? So you can specify one or more servers, one or more brokers as your Bootstrap server. You only need to specify one, but it's a good idea to have multiple values over here so that there is some kind of a failover, right? If in case the first server is down. All right. So apart from Bootstrap servers, of course, we need to specify some way in which the producer and the consumer will be able to interact with Kafka. So when we are publishing the messages here to Kafka, Kafka in turn will deal only with byte streams, right? So it will get some data which will be converted into a byte stream. Uh, Talk about serialization and deserialization here, right? So we serialize the data, and then on the and Kafka sends it over to the consumer. On the consumer side, the data is deserialized, and then that's how the consumer will be able to make sense of the data. So we need to specify which serializers to use, and that would depend on the data type of the messages that we are sending through. Okay, for JSON, typically it's a string. Okay, so let's talk about serialize, sir. So these are the values we need to specify: producer key serializer, value serializer, and the deserializers. Okay. Okay. So string serializer. This is the one. This is the serializer that we would be using. So let's quickly copy the package. Dot string serializer. Okay, and maybe so consumer key deserializer, and we would have string deserializer. All right, and I think that's all we need. There's one more value that we can specify, and that is the consumer offset mode. There are actually many more values that we can specify, but we'll talk about consumer auto offset reset here. So we spoke about consumer groups, and we said that multiple consumers can work together and read the data from one topic, right? Now, in order to keep track of what was the last message that was read from any of the consumers in that consumer group, Kafka uses something called as a consumer offset. Okay, so by making sure that there is a variable maintained within Kafka somewhere where the consumer offset is stored, it's actually another topic within Kafka. Anyway, so by making sure that there is this tracking which has been maintained within Kafka, any new request that comes from the same consumer group will know what was the last message picked up by any of the consumers in that group, right? And that's where our consumer offset comes in. Now by setting this to earliest, I'm saying that whenever I start um, this particular project, and my consumer starts to read, I want it to start reading from the beginning. Okay, all right. But anyway, we haven't implemented the consumer side of things yet. We have only implemented the producer side of things. So we want to see if we are able to produce messages. Okay, we will be implementing this shortly. Okay, so let's run this. Excellent. So we would need to connect to, so this says published data test to Kafka. Let us see if that's really true. um, we'll use another shell here. So Kafka console. Now for the console consumer, again we will need to specify which particular topic to read from and what our bootstrap server is, right? So let's do that. 9092 is the default port, by the way. We can definitely change that. And our topic was pizza orders, I think. Let me just check that. Pizza orders. Oop- Oops. I just realized something here. Okay, pizza orders. ORDERS. Okay. All right. So let's try this again. And we can see that the data has come. Let's let's order a vegan pizza. Maybe with extra cheese. Of course, vegan cheese. All right. So our producer is working all right. Let's go ahead and implement our consumer as well. So creating the consumer is pretty straightforward as well. This needs to be a service, and let's create a, okay. And what we are going to do here, maybe just is just a sys out consumed. Okay, so all that we need to do here is use this particular annotation. Within this annotation, we will need to specify the topics that we want to listen to. So that's a list, that's an array that we can specify here, a number of topics, but we just have the one, right? So we can just wait. It was pizza orders. Okay, now apart from this, we should also specify the group ID so that we know which consumer group this particular consumer belongs to. And that's all that we need here. So we'll just restart this. And if you see, we are consuming all those messages that were produced a few minutes ago. Now the reason why this is happening is because of this particular property that we set here, earliest. So it starts at the beginning. Now if we had gone for something different, if we had gone for a different value, latest, then it would have just continued with the default behavior that we saw over here. If you can see, there are only three messages, whereas we have seen four messages here, because the first one was produced before the console consumer was up. Okay, so let's try to publish some more messages here, some different kind of pizza that we are looking for. Okay, so let's say a pepper pizza or a pepperoni pizza, or maybe, I don't know, onions and tomatoes, onions and tomatoes. Okay, so we have got the message here in our consumer and also in the console consumer. So that's all for today, guys. We will revisit what we just did here, and we will try to add a few things and understand this in more detail in the next session on this particular topic. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a nice day. Please leave your comments, questions, any suggestions that you might have in your comments below. Thank you.